Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Not taken up by scheduled activities. Spare time on my hands. Thin and fit. The spare figure of a marathon runner. Refrain from harming. Lacking embellishment or ornamentation. An extra car wheel and tire for a four-wheel vehicle. Give up what is not strictly needed. He asked if they could spare one of their horses to speed his journey. More than is needed, desired, or required. Sleeping in the spare room. An extra component of a machine or other apparatus. Lacking in magnitude or quantity. A spare diet. A score in 10 pins, knocking down all 10 after rolling 2 balls. Kept in reserve especially for emergency use. A spare tire. Save or relieve from an experience or action. I'll spare you from having to apologize formally. Use frugally or carefully. Not taken up by scheduled activities. A free hour between classes. Part with a possession or right. Not fixed in position. He pulled his arm free and ran. Relieve from. Free or remove obstruction from. Free a path across the cluttered floor. Remove or force out from a position. He finally could free the legs of the earthquake victim who was buried in the rubble. Grant freedom to. Free from confinement. Make assets available. Release gas or energy as a result of a chemical reaction or physical decomposition. Free from obligations or duties. Make information available for publication. Completely wanting or lacking. People who are free. The home of the free and the brave. Not literal. A free translation of the poem. Without restraint. Costing nothing. Free admission. Grant relief or an exemption from a rule or requirement to. Let off the hook. Not held in servitude. After the Civil War he was a free man. Not limited or hampered, not under compulsion or restraint. Free enterprise. Not occupied or in use. A free locker. Unconstrained or not chemically bound in a molecule or not fixed and capable of relatively unrestricted motion. Free expansion. Cut down on. Make a reduction in. Cultivate, tend, and cut back the growth of. Thin and fit. A body kept trim by exercise. Cutting down to the desired size or shape. Neat and smart in appearance. A trim beard. Decorate, food, as with parsley or other ornamental foods. Remove the edges from and cut down to the desired size. Trim the photograph. Of places, characterized by order and neatness, free from disorder. A trim little sailboat. Severely simple in line or design. A decoration or adornment on a garment. The trimming on a hat. A state of arrangement or appearance. In good trim. Cut closely. Trim my beard. Adjust sails on a ship so that the wind is optimally used. Attitude of an aircraft in flight when allowed to take its own orientation. Balance in flight by regulating the control surfaces. Trim an airplane. Be in equilibrium during a flight. The airplane trimmed. Decorate, as with ornaments. Trim the Christmas tree. Make unnecessary an expenditure or effort. This will save money. Accumulate money for future use. He saves half his salary. Refrain from harming. Record data on a computer. Save from sins. Retain rights to. Save from ruin, destruction, or harm. To keep up and reserve for personal or special use. She saved the old family photographs in a drawer. Spend sparingly, avoid the waste of. This move will save money. Bring into safety. Spend less. Buy at a reduced price. Sports, the act of preventing the opposition from scoring. The goalie made a brilliant save. Apart from anything else, without additions or modifications. Only the bare facts. Lay bare. Bare your breasts. Just barely adequate or within a lower limit. A bare majority. Providing no shelter or sustenance. Bare rocky hills. Lacking a surface finish such as paint. Bare wood. Lacking embellishment or ornamentation. Having everything extraneous removed including contents. The bare walls. Not having a protective covering. A bare blade. Completely unclothed. Bare bodies. Make public. Lacking in magnitude or quantity. A bare livelihood. Lacking its natural or customary covering. A bare hill. Not mixed with extraneous elements. Plain water. Express complaints, discontent, displeasure, or unhappiness. My mother complains all day. Clearly revealed to the mind or the senses or judgment. Made his meaning plain. Free from any effort to soften to disguise. The plain and unvarnished truth. Lacking embellishment or ornamentation. A plain hairstyle. Unmistakably, plain is often used informally for plainly. You are plainly wrong. Extensive tract of level open land. They emerged from the woods onto a vast open plain. Lacking patterns especially in color. Lacking in physical beauty or proportion. A plain girl with a freckled face. A basic knitting stitch made by putting the needle through the front of the stitch from the left-hand side. Not elaborate or elaborated, simple. Plain food. Lacking embellishment or ornamentation. Unembellished white walls. Lacking embellishment or ornamentation. Functional architecture featuring stark unornamented concrete. someone or something that is unwanted and unneeded. An extra car wheel and tire for a four-wheel vehicle. A steering bearing that enables the front axle of a horse-drawn wagon to rotate. Do without or cease to hold or adhere to. Give up what is not strictly needed. Forego or do or go without. Leave a job, post, or position voluntarily. Part with a possession or right. Put an end to a state or an activity. Give up in the face of defeat of lacking hope. Admit defeat. Give up or agree to forego to the power or possession of another. Stop consuming. Give up alcohol. Stop maintaining or insisting on, of ideas or claims. Both sides have to give up some claims in these negotiations. Allow the other, baseball team to score. Give up a run. Give up with the intent of never claiming again. Relinquish possession or control over. Give up what is not strictly needed. Lose, s.th, or lose the right to s.th, by some error, offense, or crime. Give up what is not strictly needed. Excessive indulgence. Immoderation as a consequence of going beyond sufficient or permitted limits. More than is needed, desired, or required. Trying to lose excess weight. The state of being more than full. A quantity much larger than is needed. Added to a regular schedule. A minor actor in crowd scenes. Further or added. Need extra help. More than is needed, desired, or required. Found some extra change lying on the dresser. Something additional of the same kind. He always carried extras in case of an emergency. An additional edition of a newspaper, usually to report a crisis. More than is needed, desired, or required. Yet another book on heraldry might be thought redundant. Repetition of same sense in different words. At the risk of being redundant, I return to my original proposition. More than is needed, desired, or required. It was supererogatory of her to gloat. Serving no useful purpose, having no excuse for being. More than is needed, desired, or required. Delete superfluous, or unnecessary, words. A minor actor in crowd scenes. More than is needed, desired, or required. Supernumerary ornamentation. A person serving no apparent function. More than is needed, desired, or required. Surplus cheese distributed to the needy. A quantity much larger than is needed. An extra component of a machine or other apparatus. Short underpants for women or children, usually used in the plural. Of clothing, revealing the body. Her dress was scanty and revealing. Lacking in magnitude or quantity. A scanty harvest. Not leased to or occupied by a tenant. An unoccupied apartment. Not held or filled or in use. An unoccupied telephone booth. Not seized and controlled. Unoccupied areas of France. Lacking excess flesh. You can't be too rich or too thin. Not dense. A thin beard. Take off weight. Lacking substance or significance. A thin plot. Without viscosity. The blood was flowing thin. Lessen the strength or flavor of a solution or mixture. Very narrow. A thin line across the page. Lacking spirit or sincere effort. A thin smile. Lose thickness. Become thin or thinner. Make thin or thinner. Of relatively small extent from one surface to the opposite or in cross-section. Thin wire. Of sound, lacking resonance or volume. A thin feeble cry. Relatively thin in consistency or low in density, not viscous. Air is thin at high altitudes. Lacking excess flesh. Jan Cassius has a lean and hungry look. The property possessed by a line or surface that departs from the vertical. Containing little excess. A lean budget. Have a tendency or disposition to do or be something, be inclined. Cause to lean to the side. To incline or bend from a vertical position. She leaned over the banister. Cause to lean or incline. He leaned his rifle against the wall. Not profitable or prosperous. A lean year. Rely on for support. We can lean on this man. Lacking in mineral content or combustible material. Lean or. Not decorated with something to increase its beauty or distinction. Not decorated with something to increase its beauty or distinction. Not necessary. Not necessary. Deficient in amount or quality or extent. To a meager degree or in a meager manner. These voices are meagerly represented at the conference. Deficient in amount or quality or extent. Deficient in amount or quality or extent. Meager resources.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.